raining here.
Yeah, it's a real shame. Control heading out for another taxi.
You're part of Hampton Downs as well. So.
Yes, we are. Yeah, we're damn near Aaron Jacoby. Steve, we're just heading out for a taxi. Aaron might be on the phone or.
No, copy, read that.
Go it. Yeah, so we're we're both Highlands and Hampton Downs are owned by a guy, Tony Quinn.
Yeah.
So this track, Highlands, Tony built completely from scratch, whereas Hampton Downs was built by a couple of other people from up Auckland way, and then Tony brought Hampton Downs in about 2016, I think it was. So,
So you don't do the V8s down here?
No, we don't. We haven't had the V8 supercars down here, but possibly in the future it could be something that comes down and races here maybe. But
that'll be nice.
Yeah, it would be really cool to have it come one day. But yeah, I'm not too. I don't know all the stuff behind it really, if it would happen or not. But, and then out to the left there, that's Hayden Padden, a local rally car driver. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of him or not.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know who he is.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's his main workshop and base and everything down there. So that's where they built the new fully electric Hyundai rally car down in there. And, this area out in front of us is like the pit lane area, so it's mainly just used when there's a race meeting or event happening where the cars would call in here to do their pit stops, tyre changes, all that kind of stuff before they shoot back out onto the racetrack. And then out to the left, and that's Highland's own subdivision out there, so there's all kinds of different buildings and apartments, workshops, all sorts of setups out there. So it's a cool place to live if you want to be right next to the racetrack. Yeah. Do you want to live out there one day?
Yeah, definitely.
And then yeah, everyone that owns the properties out there, they actually have to be a member of our racetrack, just so we don't, I guess, get people living out there that aren't interested in cars or racing, or I guess the noise as well that they create every day of the year. So that keeps everyone on the same page. And then
Not too many complaints.
Exactly, yeah. And then the big building on the left is our control tower. So it's really just used to at race meetings and events to run all the meetings from up on the top of there. And then there's some sort of hospitality areas and a few garages down the bottom to run everything out of. And then yeah, this is the main straight we're pulling out onto now. So next time we come along here, we'll do probably about 160, 170 k as we go along here. But it's obviously pretty wet and slippery at the moment, so it won't be quite as fast as what we can get up to in the dry. And then as we go around the full circuit, the way that Tony Quinn designed the layout of the track and shape of corners and everything was he'd done a lot of racing at tracks all around the world, and then he had favourite corners or certain corners off tracks that he wanted to replicate and put into Highland. So all he ended up doing was going on to something like Google Earth and then basically just copy and pasted heaps of the corners and then put them down into the track that he built here.
Is he a Kiwi guy?
He's actually Scottish, but has spent majority of his life between Australia and New Zealand. So, but he's still based over in Australia at the moment. So he's that's where his sort of permanent base is. But he does usually would spend a bit of time in New Zealand. But he's stuck over there with all the COVID stuff at the moment. But yeah. And then as we go around the track, each corner and stuff out here is all electronically controlled and monitored. So there's lots of little cameras placed on the corners, and then we have these electronic light points that we can use to basically just let any of the vehicles or cars going around the track know what's happening and keep everyone nice and safe. And that's sort of one of the probably biggest differences, like with Highlands compared to other racetracks, is that it's a private members-based track. So we don't ever do really like track days or things like that very often, but the only way people can come along is if they're a member of the track. Then they could be out here right now if they wanted to be driving any of their own vehicles around.
How much is this car making?
What's that, sorry?
How much power is this car making?
This one is around about 500, I think. 500 horsepower, this one, yeah. What was that?
So you don't have any major events?
We have about 4 or 5 race meetings each year. Usually we would have had a big event in, probably actually last weekend in sort of mid-January, and it'll be like all the national championships from New Zealand would come and race in it, and then international drivers and stuff would come out and compete. But because of I guess COVID and stuff, they're not, that whole series of classes isn't coming down south this year. So, but yeah, we just depending on what's happening and things like that. There's always different races and events happening each season, really. And then the section of track down here we never really use for race or anything, but it was put in to do some like filming and car commercials, all that kind of stuff. So that's why there's no barriers and the trees that are right on the edge of the track in there. I'm sure you guys have seen a little as we're going around all the different sculptures and animals and weird kind of things like that on the side of the track. So that's something a little bit quirky that Tony's put in and spread out around the place to add a bit of a point of difference, really. And then out to our left there we've got our own the big white tanks, our own fuel station. So that's another handy thing to keep all the vehicles going around the track all up and running. And then we've got the go-kart track out behind the next garden and banks and out there. And then the bridge here is another really nice little feature. So some of the really quick race cars will do a nice jump right up over the top of it. Nice. But our taxi's probably a little heavy and not quite quick enough to be able to do that one. And then another entertaining, I guess is one word for it, a new toilet block that they're building at the moment. So the kind of light wooden coloured building out the down below the museum there is at the new toilet block. So there's going to be, I think, 6 individual bathrooms in there with all different themes inside them, and then you can literally sit in, and they've all got one-way glass in the front of them, so you can sit in, once it's opened up and finished, you'll be able to sit in there and kind of do your business and look out over the racetrack at the same time. So that's
nice.
Something pretty entertaining anyway. So Control about to start the next taxi lap.
Yeah, you're all clear.
Alright, you guys ready to go for a quicker lap?
Yeah.
And if you want to, you can put your phone in that bracket, or if you want to hold it. See, really? Yes. Did you want to stop that and start another one?
yeah.
So it's up the road?